Guys, it's Akila back here with another video, and today's video is going to be a story time about my ex. Every time I talk about my ex on this channel, I'm talking about one guy because I've only been in one relationship, and he's the same person from my Walmart story time and my mugshot story time, so make sure y'all check those out so you can get caught up. So as you can tell from the title, if he has two phones, leave that man alone, okay? He is not Kevin Gates.
I got two phones, one for the bitches and one for the
I'm just here to put y'all on game today so you don't end up like me. Okay, so we're gonna start this story time. Let me give you a little bit of context. So this was actually almost a year ago today. So it was last summer during July, and my ex and I had just graduated from high school, and our relationship was going pretty well to me. Like, he had gave me a promise ring. Everything was going good in my head. So about my ex and the two phones, his old phone was just like really old and like slow, and I think something might have happened with the screen, so he had ended up buying a new phone. He had two phones for like a long time while we were together. Like, at this point it was probably like over a year that he had two phones, but he was never using the other phone. Like, it was always just like in his room, like under the bed or something, like dead. Like, he never touched it or used it. But me and my ex, we like to watch movies and TV shows together, and he didn't have any other devices like an iPad or a laptop or anything. So one day we were watching a show and I wanted to be on FaceTime while we watched it. And so I was like, oh, you know what? You can use your other phone. So I low-key blame myself for this. Or I don't blame myself, but I just wish I would have never like said anything about that phone. But yeah, so I was like, oh, you can watch the show on one phone and FaceTime me on the other, and then we can watch the show together and be on FaceTime. That was a terrible idea for me. So it was cool, like, he used the phone to watch the shows while we were talking and blah, blah, blah. And I trusted him, so I didn't think he was gonna be doing anything sneaky on his other phone. Like, I just thought he was gonna use it for what we used it for watching shows and being on the phone. But that's not what happened, and that's why we have a story time. So yeah, that was like the explanation about the two phones, but to actually get into the story time, we're gonna start off on a day in July where it was my friend's birthday and she was having a birthday dinner. So as I was getting ready for the birthday dinner, he texted me and said that he was gonna go to sleep because it was around 8 when he texted me that. And so yeah, he said he was going to sleep, and I thought, like, obviously 8 o'clock is pretty early for anyone our age to be going to bed, so that was a little bit weird, but I trusted him because I thought he was probably tired, because the night before, me and him were together, and he didn't leave my house until maybe like 4 in the morning, maybe later, sometime like early in the morning, and he had work from I think 12 to like, I don't remember his schedule, but he got off of work like maybe at 7 p.m., 7:30, and then like, it, to me it made sense because I was like, okay, he was up all night, got home at really early in the morning, didn't have a lot of time to sleep before he had to go to work. So, and then he just worked like a 7-8 hour shift. So I was like, okay, I didn't ask too many questions or anything because I could be an understanding girlfriend and just be like, okay, you're tired, I hope you like sleep well, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, okay, send me a picture of you like before you go out and blah, blah, blah. So I sent him the picture of me, and I went out to eat dinner with my friends, and it was cool. And during the dinner, my friends were asking me questions about him. They're like, oh, how's your relationship, and how are y'all doing, blah, blah, blah. And I was always like just saying good things about him. Like, I was very, even when we were like arguing and stuff, like, I still never had anything negative to say about him. I would always tell my friends like, oh, we're good, I'm happy, blah, blah, blah. But little did I know what was about to happen. I came home from the birthday dinner not super late. Like, I was probably home by 10 at the latest, and I'm the type of person, I stay up very late at night, especially if I don't have work or class or anything. If I'm not doing anything the next day, I will be up all night. So yeah, I'm in the bed on my phone, and he texted me at around 5:30 in the morning and replied to my picture. And I texted him right back because I was up, like, I had not slept. We had a short little conversation, and in the messages we were talking about the next day. which was technically the same day, but I don't really count it as the next day until I wake up. Me and him had planned to go to Six Flags Whitewater, which if you don't know is just a water park, and we were gonna go there the next day together. And so that's when he was telling me to come pick him up at whatever time, you know, because he didn't want me to be tired. So it was cool. I went to sleep, and the next day I drove to his house, picked him up, and we went to Whitewater together. So once we got to Whitewater, we got in an argument because we got a locker to put our stuff in, and before we put our stuff up, I wanted to put on my sunscreen, and he kind of pulled me to the side, and he was like, I don't really know how sunscreen works because I don't wear it, which first of all is a sign of how stupid he is, because everybody should be wearing sunscreen no matter your skin color, no matter how much melanin you have, you need to be putting on sunscreen. But he was like, I don't wear sunscreen and I don't know a lot about it, but why can't you put it on at home before you come to the water park? And that question genuinely pissed me off because it was so dumb. I was like, why would I put on sunscreen at home if I'm like, it just didn't make sense. Like sunscreen, the fact that I had to sit here and explain to him how sunscreen worked, I was just like, are you an idiot?
Are you fucking dumb? Are you fucking dumb?
I was like, it doesn't make sense for me to put on sunscreen at home because you have to reapply sunscreen. You don't put it on one time and it just lasts forever. So yeah, I was like, I'm putting on sunscreen right now because we had on like cover-ups, of course, and so we're putting our stuff in our locker and about to go get on the water slide, so I have to take off my clothes. And yeah, so now my bathing suit is out, and now I'm putting on the sunscreen on my skin that is exposed because that's what you do. So yeah, the reason why he was having a problem with me putting on my sunscreen right then and there was because there were some guys who were literally minding their business, not paying me any attention, and I'm like, this was just so dumb. Okay. And he had a problem because he felt like I was putting on sunscreen in front of the guys. And I was like, well, where do you want me to put on the sunscreen? Because I didn't even think, oh, there's a group of guys right here, I shouldn't put on sunscreen. Because one, like I said, none of them are paying attention to me. Two, I'm literally with my boyfriend. Three, it shouldn't matter at all. So yeah, I was like, well, I just put on the sunscreen right here because we're standing here at the locker and I'm about to put it back. So what did you want me to do? Walk across the other side of the park to go put on my sunscreen, go to the bathroom and get in a stall and hide myself to put on sunscreen? It was extremely dumb to me. I just couldn't understand his point of view. Or his point of view was stupid. Like, it was just coming from like jealousy and just weird. We got in an argument about the sunscreen, and then we tried to be cool about it and get in line for the ride, but then in line it just kept coming back up because I was just so bothered by it, and then it just blew up from there. Like, it started with us arguing about sunscreen, then I don't know, we just started arguing about things that had happened in the past. Like, we started talking about him cheating on me, and he started talking about me. So our relationship was very off and on, and when we were off, we were off. Like, we were taking breaks. He would be with other girls, I would talk to other guys, whatever. But this one specific time that we were not together, I actually went to a dude's house, and he like did not let that go. Like, he was so mad about that. So while we're arguing and stuff, we're literally headed out the park at this point. We got on nothing. I picked him up, drove to the water park. Driving to his house was like a 30-minute drive. Driving to the water park from his house was like a 30-minute drive. And yeah, so we did all of this, came here, I put on my sunscreen, and then we did nothing. We got on no rides because at this point we're arguing our way out to the exit. So we're heading out of the park and we're still arguing. And at this point I'm getting embarrassed because he's being loud, and there's, you know, a lot of people coming in and a lot of people coming out. So we're around a crowd of people and he's yelling in the crowd. He's like, I know you had sex with him. Like, you're nasty. You probably let him nut in you. Like, crazy stuff, crazy accusations. And I'm just like, you're crazy. Like, you're insane. Like, you might be the type to do that, because whenever me and him took breaks, I did not have sex with anybody. Like, if you watch my mugshot story time, you would know I was obsessed with him, like, heavy. So I would have never even done anything like that because I wanted him back every time. Every time we broke up, I wanted him back. So I definitely was not about to mess that up by going and having sex with a dude. So he was just yelling crazy stuff on the way out, and it was just bad. Like, at this point, I was walking to my car and I was like, yeah, you need to find a way home because I'm not taking you home. Trying to open the door and he's like pulling on my arm and he's like, no, 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 let me talk to you, I'm sorry, like trying to apologize. And at this point I was just fed up because I don't know, I was just fed up. I wasn't having it. I didn't want to talk to him. I didn't want to look at him. I was just like, no. So I got in the car. He went and was sitting down somewhere in the parking lot and I guess was gonna call an Uber or something. And I left and I started driving home. And y'all, I probably got like 2 miles away, like literally down the street from the water park, and already I felt bad. I called him and I was like, do you want me to come back and get you? I really wish that I could have just left him there because he deserved it. He was being so disrespectful. He was embarrassing me in public. He was accusing me of doing things that I didn't do, and we already talked about this. So it was just very frustrating, and I really wish I would have just left him where he was at. But no, I did not do that. I came back and got him because I felt bad or whatever. I didn't want to just leave. Like, I felt like I was leaving him and I just didn't want to do that. So I went back to pick him up and he got in the car. And of course he apologized and everything. And I was like, well, since we have on our bathing suits, can we go to the pool at your house and still try to have a good day? Basically just trying to make up with each other. And so he was like, yeah, we can do that. And we went to go get something to eat from Chick-fil-A. After we got our Chick-fil-A, he was actually saying, this was weird, but he was like, oh, actually, I want to go to this pool. And he was, because he did DoorDash. And so since he did DoorDash, he would drive around the whole city and neighboring cities. And so he knew a bunch of places that I didn't know. And he was like, oh, there was this one neighborhood I went to and they had a really nice pool. I want to try their pool, whatever. So we get to the Chick-fil-A and we go to the neighborhood that he was talking about. Oh yeah, and also at this point in the story, he was driving my car. So I wasn't driving anymore. He was the one driving. So he took us to this neighborhood and it was a trailer park. I mean, there was a pool, but it wasn't a nice pool. And I'm like, why did you take me to a pool in a trailer park? At this point, you're playing in my face. Because why are we here? We sat in the car and ate the Chick-fil-A there. And he got out and was trying to figure out how to get in the pool. And I was just like, why can't we go to the pool at your house? And so I said that. And so he's like, okay, fine. So now we're driving back to his house, and on the drive back, he had his phone connected to my Bluetooth, and so we were listening to his music, and I heard a song that I recognized because it was the song that he would use as his alarm. So I was like, wait, let me see what the name of this song is or whatever. So I picked up his phone and I went on it, and we were sharing passwords with each other, so I didn't have to ask him like what the password was or anything. I just went on his phone and I went to go look at the song. But then something in me was telling me like, and I promise y'all, I'm not the type to go through phones, but if you know about this guy, if you watch my mugshot story time, you know he's a serial cheater. So I pick up his phone and I get the idea. I'm like, maybe I should just check your messages, because I was really trying to trust him. Like, especially lately, I was really trying to trust him and be a good girlfriend and all of that. But I was just like, I need to go through your messages because the voices in my head are telling me to check that phone. So I go to the messages and I see something. It was a girl's name, and this was a girl who I had heard of because she was his coworker at Walmart. And if you watch my story time, you know dudes who work at Walmart are not good. Stay away. So he had told me about this coworker before because they used to talk to each other in the break room. So if you remember my Walmart story time, there was a character named Snake. He told me that him, Snake, and the girl, we're gonna call her Pennywise because she actually dressed up as him for Halloween and took pictures in his neighborhood, which definitely had me questioning, like, has this girl been in your house? So yeah, what he told me was that him, Snake, and Pennywise would all talk in the break room, you know, have a little kiki, a little roasting session. He told me that he was roasting her and told her she looked like Peppa Pig, was calling her albino, and honestly mean stuff that had me questioning, like, why are you talking to her like that? But he showed me her Instagram. Like, I knew who she was, okay? He showed me her Instagram. She had a lot of followers, maybe like 16K or something, because she was a wig influencer. Yeah. He also was calling her ugly to me on the phone and just talking all this stuff about her. So I was just like, okay, whatever. So I didn't question it at the time because once again, trying to be a trusting girlfriend. And then the fact that it was him and his friend talking to her, I was like, okay, maybe y'all are just like a friend group or I don't know. So I was just like, okay, whatever. So I see her name on his phone and she was one of the recent people that he texted. So I was just like, okay, let me go look. And I see the first message I see is good night with a red heart. And I was like, okay, you got me right here. So before I even continue scrolling, I immediately say, hey, why did you text this girl good night with a red heart? And as soon as I ask that, he starts getting nervous because he's still driving the car and he's trying to reach for his phone while he's driving. And luckily, before he got the phone from me, I ended up scrolling up a little bit and I see him ask her a question and he says, how was the dig? I'm like, excuse me? Like, what? Okay. I saw that, but I didn't say anything yet because he was already trying to grab the phone. First, I was trying to hear what he had to say about why he said goodnight with the red heart. But he didn't have any explanation. He was just trying to take the phone out of my hand and I'm holding on to it and I'm like, no, no, no. And so he's trying to take it and he's basically fighting for the phone from me while he's driving. And so then he's like, oh, I'm driving. You need to chill out. Just give me the phone because I'm driving the car and like, let me drive, blah, blah, blah. And so we're going back and forth, tugging the phone. He ends up taking the phone from me. He sat on his phone. He put his butt on his phone. That's how you know he was acting so guilty because at that point, I still didn't even ask him about the other message where he was talking about how was the dig. So it's just like, you're guilty. Like, I could tell it's all in your actions. So he sits on the phone and I was like, so why did you text her asking how was the dig? And I was like, did you fuck her? He was over here trying to tell me lies. And so the lie that he came up with was, oh, she was going to meet up with one of our coworkers last night, so I just wanted to text her and ask her how it went. And I was like, okay, see, if this is true, then you're gay.
Be who you are for your pride.
Because why are you texting her asking her how another man's dick is? Either you're coming out the closet or you're cheating. It's only one of those options. Clearly, he thought I was a dummy if he thought I was gonna believe that. So the rest of the ride home, we were pretty close to his house when this happened. So the rest of the way there, I'm just like, you cheated on me. I know you cheated on me. And he's just like denying it and quiet and stuff. Like, he didn't have nothing to say. So we get back to his neighborhood. I'm like, okay, so if you didn't cheat, then let's go to the pool then. Let's go have our day since you didn't cheat. And he's like, no, I don't feel like doing anything. I just want to go in the house. So I dropped him off at his house. He got out the car and I got out the car too. And I was like, oh, so do you want to explain what happened? And he was just like, no, leave me alone, bro. My mom is at home and she's going to hear you. Honestly, I wish I went to that door and spoke to his mom directly because I knew his mom. Me and her had talked before. To my knowledge, she liked me, but you know, these women gonna ride behind their sons every time. But yeah, I wish I would have put him on blast because she needs to know that she raised a failure, okay? She raised a generational fuck up, okay? Literally immigrated to America to give this man a better life, and this is what he did with it, okay? But anyway, that's not the point. But yeah, so after that, I dropped it, went back to my car, and I kept trying to call him and text him on the way home, which obviously was dumb. There's no point in confronting. Like, he knows what he did. He knew what he was doing when he was doing it. At that point, I should have just left him alone. But I was angry, and I just wanted some type of explanation. So I kept calling him, texting him. He blocked me. I got home, was trying to call him, text him off my mom's phone, using Text Now, you know, all the apps. On Instagram, he blocked me on everything and was just not talking to me. So eventually, later that night, he unblocks me, comes back, and starts texting me, apologizing, blah, blah, blah. So the next day, I woke up early and I drove to his house to go confront him. So I pick him up and we go to the park and we have a conversation, and he's explaining to me basically how he was able to cheat, because me and him shared locations with each other on Find My, and he really went out of his way to cheat on me, y'all. Like I was saying, he had 2 phones, but he was only sharing his location on one phone, which was his main phone, the one that he used regularly. He took his SIM card out of his main phone, put it into the other phone, and took that one with him when he went to go cheat. So since his phone was at home and it was still sharing his location, of course I thought he was at home. Whole time, he told me that when he was at work that day that I went to my friend's birthday dinner and he was in the break room with her, he asked her out on a date and they went to Marietta Diner. So for those of you who are not familiar with Marietta Diner, it is open 24/7, and they went on a date around midnight. He drove his stepdad's car because, like I said before, he did not have a car. That's why I was picking him up and dropping him off and all of that, and that's why he was driving my car, because he didn't have a car. So he drove to Marietta Diner in his stepdad's car, met up with her, they went on their date, he paid for her food, then they got back and they went into his stepdad's car, and he told me while they were sitting there in the car, he pulled out her phone and started showing him nudes and freaky videos of her and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, that sounds like a weird way to initiate sex, but what do I know? But anyway, so they did that, and then he was like, oh, one thing led to another, and she gave me a condom, and we just started having sex in the back seat. Now, I do not slut shame, but having sex with your coworker in the backseat of his stepdad's car just because he got you a meal from Marietta Diner of all places at midnight, it sounds like some better decisions could have been made, but that's not my business, not my tea. He said they didn't even get to finish for real because there were like some cop cars in the parking lot and he had seen the lights flashing and he didn't want to take any chances or whatever. But honestly, he's a liar, so what do we know? I don't know. But yeah, that's the story that he gave me about what happened. And I just couldn't believe it because the whole time I was eating dinner with my friends, enjoying my night, thinking, oh, he's at home asleep. The thing is, me and Pennywise look very different. Like, Pennywise is very light-skinned. She wears wigs a lot and lashes. And according to him, he claims that he doesn't like girls who wear wigs and lashes. He's like, oh, I like natural girls. Just lying. Like, if a guy says he doesn't like something, he loves it. The guys who be like, oh, I don't like BBLs, I like natural bodies, they're lying. They love it. They love it. So yeah, like, me and her just look very different, like body wise, face wise, like everything. We were just 2 completely different types of girls. So I'm just like, what do you even like? Like, who are you?
Wait a minute. Who are you?
He really just had no reason to do that because, like I said, me and him were together the night before that. So it was just like, dang, like, you just want to hit everything. Like, you're just a hoe. Like, that's just it. I just had to accept that. Like, he's just a hoe. Like, he was saying that he wanted us to stay together. So he ended up texting Pennywise and explaining to her why they couldn't be friends anymore. He was just so manipulative. Like, after that whole conversation, somehow he tricked me again. Like, did we break up? No. We ended up like kissing at the end and making up, and then I went about my day. So that's the story of what happened. He was very disrespectful. He was texting Pennywise asking how the dick was and all of that, while he was texting me at the same time saying he loved me. And y'all, I wish I was making this up, but that was pretty much the story time. If he has 2 phones, I'm sorry, but he's probably doing something sneaky. And if he works at Walmart, you need to run. So yeah, learn from what I have to say. Don't be like me, be better than me. And that'll be it for this video. I'll see y'all in the next one.